Hi, everyone. Welcome. Carl Steinbeck here. Just wanted to cover the explosive events of today where we saw Daniel Rashbaum telling Judge Everett he needs to withdraw because Charlie Adelson has not granted a withdrawal, not consented to the waiver of the conflict that he has with his mother, Donna. So this is something that was highly expected for him to have these issues that would delay the trial if it raised its ugly head. And as we saw, the waiver was problematic, and this was something that was an ongoing issue that could raise its ugly head at a moment's notice because decisions like this on waiver can be rescinded and withdrawn. So that's exactly what happened with Charlie. And Charlie obviously has a different counsel, and that wasn't factored in Rashbaum handling this case of Donna. And like I've said from the beginning, this thing is very strange for an attorney to handle two back-to-back murder trials for co-defendants involved in the same murder, involving the same victim. It's just unprecedented. You don't see this kind of thing in day-to-day legal practice. And so it was very, very problematic from the get-go. It's something the prosecution sat on and didn't do anything about it. The judge did a brief inquiry, but there was no true vetting and understanding for Donna on what this ramification was. And really, there's such a potential for a conflict that if you stop to think about it, Rashbaum could not even discuss the option of Donna rolling over and flipping on other family members, specifically to include Charlie, because that's something he was prohibited from discussing. And as soon as she would have said something like, hey, I wonder if I should plead guilty and cooperate with the state, if she would have said that as well, Rashbaum would have had immediately withdraw as counsel of the case. He could not proceed forward, at least not discuss that with her. So Rashbaum had this inherent massive constitutional crisis problem on this case, and nobody called him out on it. Apparently now he said that he did have a written waiver at one point, but we never saw it. He never stated the date that it was supposedly signed by Charlie, and supposedly Alex Morris never saw it either, and that's what he represented earlier this morning in court. So we therefore saw this tragedy of this case not going forward. It's all messed up. Rashbaum started it, but no one else held his feet to the fire. No one else did their jobs of looking past this ridiculous waiver and setting forth all the type of scenarios of conflicts that could basically derail this case. It's exactly what happened the day of the trial is supposed to start. So what great timing, and what a great what a great example of if you don't do the right thing and you don't make sure you got your ducks in a row and you don't make sure the constitutional issues are resolved well before trial, as soon as they present themselves. This is the kind of thing that happens. So we basically wasted all this time since Donna got arrested last November, all because why? Because the counsel was derelict in not properly making sure that that there wouldn't be this potential conflict from happening, and there was not proper vetting. So with this all going on, and now Rashbaum having to withdraw from the case, at least the good thing about it is that it's going to be somewhat conflict free at this point, but it's still not conflict free until the other attorney on the case, Alex Morris, is withdrawn from the case as well. And what I think is happening is this thing was such a bombshell shocker going on in the courtroom this morning and this afternoon that I think when Judge Everett brought Alex Morris in the back room there, he'd already represented that he hadn't discussed anything about Charlie's case with him. I think what he likely told them was that you need to get off this case as well, but I'm giving you roughly 4 weeks to get off the case by 15 October. You better make sure she has new counsel because I will raise the issue then that you're conflicted, because I don't see any way that Alex Morris can sit there and say he doesn't have potentially any information that was mistakenly released or inadvertently released, or maybe even intentionally spoken and then retracted by Rashbaum. So once you're part of a conflicted team, you are conflicted as well. That's pretty much been the standard that I've known my whole 34 years of practicing law. So I would say that's the same standard down there in Florida. So I would suspect that Donna's now going to have to spend more money looking for different counsel, and that's going to probably be another $1 million. So that's something I guess they deserve. And so if you saw, Donna was pretty much sobbing a lot, crying in the courtroom, based on the fact that she's losing Daniel Rashbaum now. So keep in mind, Rashbaum, she's been talking to ever since she's been locked up. They talk nightly. It's almost like a bed check forum. And as you recall, Rashbaum referred to her as sort of like a mother figure for him. So with that being the dynamics of a relationship, something that sounds beyond the normal attorney-client relationship, it's going to be really hard on her in the jail cell. They're not having Rashbaum there to call up and discuss stuff. And keep in mind, he could be a go-between also maybe with Charlie and share information between them. So that's going to be cut off now too, because Rashbaum will completely cut her off. There's not going to be any follow-up. Rashbaum is not even going to share the attorney-client file with whatever new attorney gets hired on the case. And so it's, we're basically starting from scratch, because if Morris is also getting off the case, which he should, in my opinion, then that means she's going to have brand new counsel. And with brand new counsel, guess what? We could be looking at least another year and a half. So what Rashbaum basically did was guarantee that his client's not going to be able to go to trial for a year and a half by creating this huge blunder and thinking that he can handle 2 murder cases. So it's just such a reckless type of thing he did to try to take on 2 murder clients. It's just very, very much as we've seen from other comments from attorneys or folks connected to attorneys that said, yeah, in their jurisdictions, the judges would never tolerate this. Rashbaum would never be sitting there representing a second murder case, and especially when you got such a whack of a story that this double extortion. I mean, it's Donna's goose was cooked. She was not going to come out of this unscathed. So you take a case that's a slam dunk win, and you don't do anything to get the conflicted counsel off the case, and these are the consequences. So. I do believe, therefore, that I think Alex Morris was just given a short leash to get off the case. I think that third counsel guy, he probably won't be seen either. And he probably hasn't had any discussions with attorneys and of any substance of any kind, since he just got basically pulled off the street. So I would say that, they need somebody more experienced as well. He looked pretty green. So I would say that in the end, it's been a wasted time. But the positive thing is, at least Donna's been locked up for that time. But I think the state needs to really amp up their efforts now, quit being asleep at the switch, and just go ahead and arrest Wendi and also Harvey. Quit dragging your feet. Get this thing on the road. Are you going to wait another year and a half to go to trial, and let Wendi then have all that extra time to be free roaming around? I would say this is really an outrage if they sit on their hands again and are not aggressive and proactive on pursuing justice for the Markell family. So the thing is, I think that we didn't need to get a ruling from Judge Everett on this case of Rashbaum's conflict. I was thinking and hoping that Judge Everett would do the right thing. I had no idea what he's willing to do, but I do think, like I say, they're trying to save face from having this from Donna walking out of there with no attorneys whatsoever, this thing being such a disaster bombshell that you go from starting day one of trial to her having no lawyers. I think that was too much for them to bear down there in Tallahassee from embarrassment. So I think that's what they decided to do, is leave the other less conflicted counsel on, just so she can find new counsel. So it doesn't look like she went from going to day one of trial to no trial and no lawyers. So you just never see that. That's just how bizarre this case is. But I just hope the prosecution doesn't get more timid, and they basically retreat and don't regroup and keep on advancing the cause. So with that, I'll go ahead and take questions here. Sally A., you're asking, is it not true that if Charlie signed the waiver, he could rescind it up until the trial starts? Yeah, that's the whole thing about waivers. He could have rescinded any time. Donna could have rescinded any time. So I mean, you're just a ticking time bomb on when the whole case is going to get derailed, and then you would have had a mistrial. So at least that's the one thing, that the trial didn't start out and this issue come up right before Charlie's going to be called as a witness. So at least his attorney didn't sandbag us that long, where they already would have gone several days into the trial and only raised the issue right before Charlie testifies. But so So anyway, I do think this is a huge embarrassment for justice. It's an embarrassment for Tallahassee, and it's probably the kind of thing that the Adelsons looked at Tallahassee and figured they don't have enough sense and smarts to be able to ever prosecute them. So anyway, the evidence is overwhelming. They just need to drive forward and make sure this gets addressed, and they need to make sure Alex Morris is off the case. But it is just really disappointing to see this lack of proactivity from both the prosecution and the bench. TK, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Donna needs all new counsel. Just purge what's there. They're all messed up. I think if you look at also the body language and demeanor of Alex Morris, I mean, he looks totally unthrilled, let's say, about being a counsel for this case because, I mean, he's slumped shoulders. He looks depressed. He looks like he wants to get the heck out of there. And the last place he wants to be is defending Donna. So he needs to move on as well, I would say. And, Donna is now going to have to meet all new counsel, come up with all new funds. And so in any event, that's where we're at. And so it's better the pain now than the pain of seeing it reversed. And anyway, it's just such a shocking day. But I'm like I say, I'm glad this issue came out now rather than later. So. Streaming Days is asking, did I see Alex Moore's interview after court today? No, I did not. So I don't know what he said. If you want to put in here the gist of what he said, maybe we can comment on that as well. But yeah, what a trap he walked into. I think he had no idea the kind of conflict that Rashbaum had, and he obviously could not have appreciated the slippery slope of how this thing could just basically the ice could break and he's underwater in about 2 seconds because of this conflict. And in any event, total embarrassment to be associated with the defense of this case for him, I'm sure. And so I think he's going to be gone. Yeah, Royal Blue, I'm saying that I think he was told by the judge, make sure she gets new counsel because you need to get off the case as well. I think that's what went on. And they're trying to make sure Donna doesn't feel completely shell shocked with no counsel going from day one of trial to having no attorneys. They're all conflicted. So anyway, it's one of those deals where, yeah, I think Morris is going to duck and run. That's my prediction. And I think if he doesn't do that on his own, the judge would have told him, you need to move on as well. I'll give you about 4 weeks here till October 15th. Okay, here, one windy old bird saying Charlie said he would have nothing to do with Alex Morris either. Morris has to be gone. Well, that's that Charlie really doesn't have a say on who Donna's other counsel is, but since he's conflicted, even if he says he didn't hear any information from Charlie, I think nonetheless, the Alex Morris is doing his darndest to get the heck out of there and doesn't want to be a part of this case anymore. Yeah, sure. This is a good point here. Cheryl Ann, you're saying it must be hard to find new counsel from behind bars, and Morris and Rashbaum can't refer to one. Yeah, I mean, they just need to stay. They need to stay out of this lane. She needs to drum up her own. Maybe have Harvey go through the phone book or something like that. Do not listen to anything Rashbaum says for a referral. So yeah, it's totally one of these deals where Rashbaum is toxic. Anything surrounding Rashbaum on this case is toxic because of the conflict. And in the end, Charlie most likely relied on his lawyer, and his lawyer said, "You're gonna really sink your case, and you're not helping your mom's case either. So I'm not going to recommend you cooperate." So and I guess Charlie decided that he was going to listen to his lawyer because in Charlie's mind, I'm sure he thought he could have helped his mom. But in any event. Sidebar, saying that Wendi buys herself more time. No, let's not hope so. I think the prosecution, to try to save some face, they better arrest her now instead of later. So show that you're tough on crime and not weak. You know what you're doing, and you're not gonna mess this stuff up because you have no clue what's going on constitutional conflicts. Yeah, Andy, you're saying Harvey and Wendi were nowhere to be seen today to support Donna. What a sad Roseville family. Yeah, I mean that's what happens when you decide to uh, do a vicious murder on a family member of your two grandchildren and your your ex-husband, the father of your children. You're going to allow this to happen and plan it to happen and execute that murder in such a vicious fashion. And now this whole family is now being disintegrated. It's imploding. Their defense counsels are imploding. So all because they're not accepting responsibility and fessing up to it. Kara Leslie saying Harvey has a lot of work to do. Yeah, now the onus is on him because Donna's not getting out of there. Wendi doesn't want anything to do with mom or Charlie. So yeah, they're pretty much Harvey's what 80 now, and he's got to try to find new counsel, come up with $1 million or more. And this thing is such a hot mess. And where are they going to get an attorney out of Miami again or somebody out of Tallahassee? So it just doesn't make a whole lot of reassurance for Donna to be able to sit there and say that she's going to, be happy with her new counsel. I think she's going to be miserable with her new counsel. I think she's going to have a lot of personality conflicts with them. She's going to be comparing them all the time to Rashbaum. So any attorney jumping on this case and looking at the really bizarre history with the efforts that Rashbaum put in, and it's going to be one of these deals where it may take them more than a month to find an attorney willing to take the case. I would say the main driver is going to be they got a lot of cash on hand, probably to funnel the way of the new counsel. Yep, as Judy said, it's like a bed check, like she lost another son. I was noticing that today too. It's like since Charlie wasn't around anymore, this is like her backup son, and now he's gone too, and she can't talk to either one of them. She's not talking to those two. She's not talking to Wendi. The grandkids have been, I'm sure, cut off as well. So anyway, it's just talk about something that could have easily been averted if they would have said, you know what, we're not going to resort to murder just to help Wendi, and we're not going to listen to Wendy's efforts to get us involved in this. But so they brought this on themselves, and it should be a whole lot worse. They should lock up the remaining two, as I said. Okay, Kara, you're saying that Morris said he was the lead in his post-courthouse interview, October 15th. Will be wild. Okay, I guess you're saying that he was going to be the lead. I think he's the lead right now, the leader of just himself. I think this other sidekick at the independent counsel, he's not really, they're saying he's not technically part of the team, yet he is part of the team. So anyway, this whole thing's so bizarre. I mean, it's just like, this should be like brought up in legal conferences for criminal law, shown how not to do things when you have conflicted counsel. Okay, Sick Tennis, you're saying Moore said he and the state already have dates for November, February for the start of trial. Okay, if that's the case, then it looks like he does want to stay on the case, and I guess maybe Judge Everett didn't say that. If that's what what I was saying earlier, he's probably told them they need to find other counsel. So that I think is another ripe issue for appeal. I would be surprised if the Supreme Court thought that he was conflict free enough for Donna. So yeah, it's quite bizarre. I guess that's how they do it down in South Florida there, or Florida. I guess that's northern Florida. D, you're saying the only one who benefits from this major blunder is Wendi. The judge unfortunately screwed up big time. Well, I do think that if they do the right thing and arrest Wendi now, then at least that's going to somewhat bring some satisfaction to the victim's family here, the Markells. But yeah, if she's going to walk straight another year and a half or two, that's talk about wow. I just cannot believe that there's that level of incompetence down there. Sorry, I hate to say it. I don't like to talk about other comrades that way, but it really is it's really a quite a appalling disaster that should have been easily known, easily resolved back in November. Okay, TK Glein, you're saying, can Rashbaum be called to testify? And was this an attempt to keep Charlie from testifying? No, Rashbaum is not going to be called as a witness. Attorneys are not called as witnesses in most instances for any kind of criminal proceeding, unless it's something like they do, something like I said the other night about this David Oscar Marcus calling up Detective Isom and saying that he wanted to know if Charlie was going to be arrested as well. So those kind of things would make you become a witness, as he's already been subpoenaed for that and is resisting it, and that was to no avail. So I will say that if Rashbaum did something improper, then maybe he could be called as a witness as well. But I doubt it at this point. Don, you're saying that we saw Joel's interview of Rashbaum after Charlie's conviction. He said he was defending her. We all knew it was a conflict of interest back then, right? Well, I was saying it from day one that this is like something you don't see in the real world. This is sort of like a bizarre, altered state of the universe down there in the legal world that you don't see this kind of quackery kind of stuff going on. That's a good point here. 789, you're asking, do all the motions filed this far carry forward with the new attorneys? I mean, the new attorneys could renew everything. It's sort of like starting over from scratch. I think the favorable rulings that asked, those could be in their favor. But anything they want to reopen, they think needs to be redone. If you had, this conflicted counsel Rashbaum that was day to day not stable on whether he's going to be the attorney or not, based on what his clients think on whether he should be waived or not. I mean, they pretty much got to look at the case from scratch. And I don't think the judge would be bound by his old rulings because she's got new counsel. And if I was new counsel, I would ask to I would let the court know that you're going to reopen everything up for more new rulings. Why not get a second bite at the apple? I think is what they're going to be asking for. So, and if Morris does stay on, wow, that's really shocking. If he's ready to go to trial that soon, okay, then we'll see about that. I'm glad the trial would be conducted sooner, but I'd rather have totally conflict-free counsel. RV Ready, you're saying, I'm shocked the prosecutors not have an argument prepared before Dan stepped down. Yeah, I mean, they're totally flat-footed. I mean, remember Donna or Georgia said she, briefly looked at case law. So they just thought it was not an issue that they need to be concerned with. And now look where they wound up. Simmons for Life said, do you remember how David Marcus didn't want to testify? He probably called Utterman and said, how are you allowing Charlie to be crossed by Russia? Yeah, that could have happened as well. We don't know for sure. Yeah, our hearts go out to the Markells. We all feel terrible for them, but they got a lot of people backing them and supporting them. That's a good thing. That's what you guys are doing on this channel. This is dedicated to helping ensure they got justice, and that we'll call out these unreasonable delays and derelictions on the part of the court and prosecutors. Okay, Robin, you're saying, I'm afraid Donna will actually get competent counsel who gets so reasonable doubt. Morris even said on TV news that other defenses could be possible. Okay, well, go ahead, try it. All right, she's going to be grasping for straws. There's not going to be any legitimate defense. So go ahead and try it. Go ahead, try it. So it's not going to work. It's a slam dunk one, even if they don't stick with this double extortion story that will be rejected by anybody and everybody that hears it. Okay, then we got okay, I guess I wish I would have heard that interview. Rose here saying in the interview, Morris said possible negotiations and new defense tactics. Any thoughts on that? Well, he was still working closely with Rashbaum for how many months, and he doesn't have a conflict. I mean, maybe he's going to try to do what he thinks is reasonable and smart at this time. But I just think him staying on his counsel is something that should not be condoned by the court, and he should withdraw. And if he doesn't, the court should bounce him. So it's simple as that. Renita, you're asking, can Donna hire Rashbaum for a different matter while she's in jail? Yeah, if it's unrelated to this case, sure she can. Some civil case or something like that. Any other criminal case, he could represent her as well. But in any event, I think maybe I wonder if she still believes in him after this. Maybe I don't know what Rashbaum told her, but maybe just blamed it on the court or something like that, or blamed it on the attorney for Charlie's not letting her the cooperation happen and the waiver happen. So. Rosemary Romero, you're asking, could Jed ever be replaced on his trial? I mean, it's possible because this thing's going on so long if he gets reassigned or something, but I would hope he stays on the case. And this is the one bad ruling that sort of came back to, or the lack of a ruling, and just sort of ratification of what defense was doing by the judge, that he failed to intervene properly. Yeah, okay. We see here that, again, somebody's saying that, how's this possible? Alex gave an interview today for the Reporter, said he'll be the lead lawyer. Okay, that's a shocker to me. So there's something really bizarre about Tallahassee, even more than I thought. I thought he was looking like he didn't want to be a part of this team, and was completely embarrassed, as Rashbaum was. I mean, they looked like they were about ready to get blasted by the judge, which never happened. But they deserved it. I'm not so much Alex, but I should say Rashbaum. But yeah, why Alex would stay on this case, beyond belief. I have no idea. And I think it's one of the, like I say, main targets for appeal now again. Tamara B, you're asking, will Rashbaum lose his law license over this? I don't think he will. The fact that he withdraw, I think, will cure a lot of the things he would have trouble with the state bar on. But getting it this close to trial and not having, I don't know, like I say, the whole issue of having a conflict that could happen at any moment, and you're willing to go to trial with the second defendant, and hope that the waiver stays good and sufficient, and hope that the state doesn't call your previous client as a witness. So it's just such a predictable disaster, and why the prosecution and the judge just let it slide, I have no idea. Teresa, you're asking what's wrong with the prosecution. Georgia seems so passive. Yeah, she seems totally checked out. You heard her on, there's a hot mic moment. Someone sent me, thank you for sending that, where she was sort of complaining about things, and I forget the details of it, but it looks like she was being, sort of like in an unusual state of complaining that you would probably not see as something you see on the open mic instead of a hot mic. But yeah, so think about it. Donna will stay in Leon County Jail for the next year, and she's not going to go home on house arrest. So even though this thing is going to take longer, Donna will still stay in Leon County Jail there. And imagine if she has. I can't imagine she's going to hire a lawyer from Miami. I mean, they're not going to see her very much. She's going to meet a new lawyer and talk to them over the phone and have a good attorney-client relationship over the phone with somebody in Miami. So in any event, if this Alex Morris is the lead counsel, then I don't know. It's too bizarre, and I think they're doing what they can to preserve the case. And instead of getting rid of all the attorneys, in what they're going to do, it sounds like, is just tee it up and let it be an appellate issue. So. All right, next we got here. Yeah, so if they go to trial in November, I guess that's not too much delay, but yeah, it's just whatever. It's still going to be an appellate issue that's that I would never be comfortable with if I was prosecution in court. Yeah, I don't think Rashbaum's going to be called as a witness, so it's possible, but I doubt it. They got so many other lawyers that are going to be testifying. Miriam Sandbrand is saying no lawyer should take the case unless she pleads and flips on Wendi. I mean, that would be what I would be doing if I was going to be hired by somebody like this on a case somewhere in Texas. I would say basically, if you want me on the case, I'll take it, but we're not going to trial. We're not going to waste time. I'll get the best deal I can for you, but we're not going to try to fight something that's got zero chance, absolutely zero chance of acquittal or not even a hung jury is going to work. All right, so now we have Jamie Jester asking, why did Alex Morris say he'd say? Beyond me, I don't know why he would do that. I think it's maybe he's going to help his client have an appellate issue of him being conflicted or something. I just don't get it. Yeah, I agree with Judy. He looks like he regrets being there with them. So if he went outside the courtroom afterwards said that he was going to be lead counsel, I mean, I still think he's going to wise up in a few days and say, look, I don't want to be associated with this case. I need to get off this case. As soon as another counsel gets pulled in, let them be the lead. He's going to try to withdraw. That's what I would still think. I'm still holding that belief that he's going to wise up and do that. But who knows? It remains to be seen. Lorraine, you're saying, would you write a letter to Jack Campbell, plead for the Markells? They're not getting any younger. They are entitled to closure. Yeah, I mean, they need to up their game there at the prosecution office. I would say that if you guys want to submit letters, something that's on you. I just don't think they're going to listen to that. I think they're probably just chucking them, and so they know what they need to do, and it comes down to them having the courage to do the right thing. And if they don't, some letters not going to really matter. But in any event, it is just very, very upsetting to see what the Markells have had to suffer through all these years by slow rolling prosecutions and incompetence as well. Sure, as you're saying, Morris is making nice with the cameras. He cannot stay on. Conflict won't resolve unless Donna gets new. That's what I'm saying. So I think it's all window dressing. So I think he's saying lead just to make it look like the whole case is not a disaster. But what do you know? He's going to most likely withdraw in the next month. He'll have new counsel, and the new counsel asks for a year and a half. And so basically, Tallahassee can blame it on the new lawyers, not Rashbaum and Morris, for causing a year and a half or more delay. So that's what I think could be going on. Ivan's asking, what's the impact of Rashbaum's reputation as attorney, his credibility forever tarnished as a defense attorney? I don't know what's going down there in Florida, but it's sort of like the Wild West down there. So maybe people don't really care about the normal sense of justice that we have here in the other parts of America. All right, so moving on, let's see what else we have from Diana. You're asking what extra new information could the prosecution obtain from Donna's trial that they feel they couldn't win a trial against Wendi by going forward now? No, they have enough information to go against Wendi. They just need to package it all together, present it to a grand jury, and go ahead and start the clock, and be ready to go in case she does ask for a speedy trial. Most lawyers will never ask for a speedy trial, especially on a murder case. But if they think the prosecution's flat-footed and they're not ready to roll, then that could be a possibility. But not only puts more onus on the defense, because they also have to certify that they're ready to go to trial in order to ask for and demand for speedy trial for their client. So it's sort of like a double-edged sword that way. Okay, Lisa Mona, you're asking how would Donna find a new attorney while in jail? Would Rashbaum get somebody for it? No, Rashbaum has to completely cut off and sever all ties with her. So he goes from like daily calling with Donna to none whatsoever. And that's going to really shock Donna. And who's she going to turn to now? She's going to have to talk to Harvey, and Harvey's going to have to start figuring out how to find somebody. Maybe he'll call one of the Weinsteins or one of his attorney buddies to ask who he should get. Deep Day Boy, you're saying the lawyers act as though they were first-year law students. Yeah, I mean, this is like, wow. They've been practicing law for way too many years to let this get so much of a hot mess. Sidebar read. That's what I've been saying. I think Morris is conflicted too. I don't know many attorneys that want to stick around if they were in this situation. And so, like I say, I think it's just a temporary posturing where it can look like Donna does not have counsel, and then it's the trial date isn't going to be delayed for a year and a half. So I think it's more of a saving face maneuver. Yeah, so I just answered that, Sally. Rashbaum cannot be in contact with Don anymore, being that he's conflicted. And he's probably also not talking to Charlie. If I was Charlie's lawyer, I'd say do not talk to Rashbaum at all. Stay away from him. Michael Luizo is asking, why did Charlie refuse? Well, it's really his lawyer advising him that there's no upside to trying to testify in your mom's case. He probably realizes in looking at the court file that how ridiculous his defense story was, and Charlie going in there trying to repeat the same thing to his mother's case, and Charlie could get caught in a lie, talking about that latest email we saw in court that the prosecution is going to introduce into evidence where they're catching a dialogue between Charlie and his mom right after Sigfredo Garcia got arrested, and they're basically making it sound like they're happy that Sigfredo, drug dealer, has potentially the reason for the murder might have been the fact that drug deal gone bad and Dan didn't pay him for drugs that he bought off him. So I mean that's completely a different story than what he said in court about the this being a double extortion and all that nonsense. So he obviously would get busted in a bunch of lies. So Utterman basically did what he had to pull the plug on that from happening. Carolyn A., you're asking, do I think Judge Everett would have let Rashbaum save face by allowing him to withdraw? Do you think he could have dismissed him? He would. I hope he would have dismissed him. But like I say, I don't know what's going on down in Tallahassee. It's just like really bizarre. So yeah, it's just. I mean, when do you see something like this happen? Conflict on a murder case, and that derails the whole prosecution the first day they're supposed to see order a jury. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, it's so disappointing. Okay, Sally said Morris' interview was very weird. He said he looked so uncomfortable. He did say he felt like a plea deal could be possible. Wow, okay, that I got to see that to believe that. That sounds really bizarre. You go from dropping Rashbaum, all of a sudden they're talking plea bargains. So, all right, maybe she's willing to give Wendi. Maybe could Donna be so furious with Wendi that she's willing to roll over on her in exchange for any kind of sentence just to make sure Donna helps bring her down? There could be that kind of a vengeance there. All right, we have here. Okay, so apparently Lily Flores is saying, did you hear Alex was asked if Donna would take a plea, and he was quoted he used Georgia's court by saying, stay tuned. So yeah, who knows? I think he's just maybe trying to make it look good because this thing was so botched. So people think there's either going to be a plea or an actual trial in the next couple months. So I don't think either of those two things are going to happen, but Robin saying Charlie's or Harvey's still at the airport. Still wandering around the airport. Yeah, he's got a lot of work to do now, finding a new lawyer for Donna. And where was he today? My understanding is that he was nowhere to be found. Wendi was nowhere to be found. So yeah, it's complete implosion of the family, all because of their hatred of trying to have folks be hired to gun down Professor Markell. How disgusting and sad. Frenchie Connection, you're saying I thought they can't arrest Wendi because they really need her to testify against Donna. If she's arrested, she won't have to testify, correct? Well, she can still be testifying, just like Charlie could be called to testify. So it doesn't matter what stage you are in a trial or accusations of a crime there in Florida under that statute. You can be called by the prosecution at any time. And so Wendi could be subject to that as well. So no, she would not be able to refuse to testify. And if she did, she could be contempt of court and be held in jail until she agrees to testify, and be sentenced accordingly if the trial's already over. Happy Go Lucky's asking, can Donna get a public defender? Well, public defenders are for the indigents. I don't think the Adelsons are any close to indigent. I think they still got their high rise there in South Florida. And so that's probably like 1.5 or 1.6 million dollars. So maybe you'll see that going on the market here to help pay for Donna's new lawyer. Kathy Wilcox asking, do I think Harvey knew this would happen today? No, I don't think this is really a planned thing by the defense. I think it just sort of like raised itself as an issue, and so it's not. I don't think that any of these folks are that smart to figure it out, because they still didn't understand what the issue was when it was brought up to the court. Only when Charlie refused to sign the waiver that's when Rashbaum knew he was done for at that point. Gail's asking, did Don ever get to talk to Charlie face to face? Or no, there is no face to face. She's in jail. He's also in jail. They would not have brought them anywhere close to each other. They'd have been in separate locations within the Leon County Jail. Andy, you're saying you're being very kind to the judge. Prosecution and defense is lawyering 101. Well, look, I've already said a lot earlier on my podcast this morning on a live stream. I was saying some really stern stuff about all those players. So I don't need to repeat those stern words. And I was pretty blunt. And so if you want to go back and look at that, I'm not excusing this at all. I have called it what it is. So if you want to go back and see that. Sadie's asking, what's the main reason that Georgia needs to convict Donna before she'll arrest Wendi? Well, she doesn't need to wait until Donna's convicted before she can arrest Wendi. Wendy's going to take some time to get to trial as well. So it's just another, I think, bad strategic decision to not have more Adelsons of South Florida arrested. Very, very, I just think it speaks of weakness and timidity and lack of zeal and quest for justice. Lee, you're asking, Rashbaum said he had a waiver but is never signed. Do you think the state and the judge are also responsible for this? Yeah, that's what I said this morning. I really went into that in more detail. So I'm not going to repeat the same stuff tonight. I'm just sort of doing the follow-up on what happened after the 1:15 hearing Eastern time. So if you look at my morning live stream, that I addressed a lot of that stuff in detail. So now, Spirit, you're saying they need to arrest Wendi now. She can still testify while in custody. It's insane that they continue to wait until Donna's trial. She's been walking around free to. Yeah, it really is insane. It's disgusting and insane. Yeah, Royal Blue, I just sort of addressed that. They're not going to pass each other in the jailhouse cells, the confinement cells. So that pretty much I would believe is not going to happen. But I don't have any direct proof. I just would think the jailers would not allow that to happen. I don't know about Rashbaum being Dancing with the Stars. I don't think he's a star. So. Okay, here's another comment. Alex indicated that Rashbaum's removal from the case opens up new defense possibilities, up to and including a plea deal. Yeah, he's just trying to like make it sound like it's not such a bad day today for the Tallahassee legal system, but it's a huge black eye, huge embarrassment. Yeah, Robin McBroom, you're saying, I think Donna's tears were because she believed that Rashbaum was a communication conduit for Donna to speak to family attorney calls or bring in her contraband. She lost a life link, I think. I hope he's not bringing contraband. I doubt that. But yeah, he could have been a conduit, definitely, at least between her and Charlie. Mary Allen, you're saying, can Wendi refer a lawyer given she's a lawyer and may have contacts? Well, Wendy's not even speaking to her mom. So I would say that's not going to happen. And plus, Wendy's not a criminal lawyer, and unless you really understand the folks in the locality there who are criminal experts, you might as well just look it up in the Google it and do a Google review or something like that. But Wendy's not going to provide any help, I can assure you that. Okay, Beverly Mason, you're asking who is the man sitting on Donna's left side? That was the third independent counsel, they call it, where he was not conflicted by the working with Rashbaum, and so it's it also begs the question that if he's new and independent, and he's independent, and also Alex Morris is independent from being involved with Rashbaum, and there's no discussion of Charlie, then why do they need a new attorney, a third wheel? So anyway, he was in there and he told the judge that he spoke with Donna about 30 minutes and she was okay with the conflict. She was willing to waive it. So anyway, the guy knew nothing about the case. I was completely uninformed, and it was just a quick mediocre fix that ultimately the wheels are going to fall off the bus anyway. Man, and Jane's asking, is it Morris staying on another conflict for appeals? I have no idea. If that's what they're doing down in Tallahassee, it's quite bizarre. I cannot answer that either way. If anybody knows any details about that, go ahead and add it in here in the side chat. Yeah, nobody's going to represent Donna pro se. She's not going to have sympathy and be endearing to anybody. I think she's going to have a hard time getting along with them if it's not Alex Morris. Miriam Sandbrand, you're saying the judge is not the attorney's babysitter, but there actually is case law that says judges are supposed to scrutinize for conflict. So that is part of the judicial duties. Prosecution should be helping screen that. The judge should as well. So they actually do. They are a gatekeeper, and they're the ones that need to shut this down when you have this insane legal practice going on. You need to shut it down and get these attorneys bounced out of courts when they try pulling this kind of stunt. So no, I'm not going to give the judge a free pass. Sorry. I like the judge a whole lot, but he dropped the ball big time on this matter. Okay. That's the kind of stuff I was saying earlier today. So yeah, no name channel. You're saying, I don't think the masses realize what he's saying is PR. If what you say is what you want to when your client look good. So yeah, I do think he's going to be gone by 10-5. If he's not, then Tallahassee is more of a hot mess than I even believed it to be at this juncture. Yeah, it's called an ethical wall. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's not going to fly if Morris is still on the case as well. Okay, somebody keeps posting the same question. I'd appreciate it if you don't. So don't do that. Putting somebody in timeout there. Okay, Sally, you're saying, did you hear the hot mic moment between Georgia and Rashbaum? She was really upset because it seems all the groups had agreed to a speedy resolution. Rashbaum said he's worried about the bar. Yeah, I heard about that. And so thanks for bringing out those kind of details. Yeah, Georgia was sort of like, complaining about it. Man, we thought this thing was all resolved and blah, blah, blah. And, like, who's trying to like undo this deal? No, Georgia, you just don't get it. I mean, you're completely off the deep end, have no clue what's going on in this legal issue. So it's really shocking and bizarre to see that. I just don't get it. Yes. So Jesus Christ is Savior. You're saying Donna and Rashi are way too emotionally attached to each other. Yes, I mean that does appear to be that way. I don't know how sincere Rashbaum is regarding that, but he talks about it. So I don't know. People can say and do anything to try to ingratiate themselves to clients and future clients. And he had Donna for a number of years, and he was able to get Charlie, and now he's back to Donna until the last day where the trial starts. So anyway, it's just, you can't make this stuff up. It's so bizarre. Bloomingdale, if Wendi and Harvey get arrested, can the state trial all three together? Yeah, they should. I've been saying that for a long time. You follow my channel. Yeah, they should be arresting all three, trying them all three together. Just get this over and done with. Quit wasting so much time and doing this injustice to the Markells. It's really shameful, I think. Yeah, this is what I mentioned earlier. Somebody had the similar question. Could a waiver be worth the paper it's written on if they could change their mind anytime? Yeah, it's not. It's worthless. Okay, it's absolutely worthless. This is why lawyers don't ever get involved in something like this. So it's quite an embarrassment for the justice system down there in Tallahassee. Okay, Art Globe, you're saying, what would a plea look like for Donna? Morris alluded to one today. Could she turn on Wendi and Harvey and get a reduced sentence like 10 years? It's possible. Who knows? She needs to have conflict-free counsel. So we're not there yet. In my opinion, we're not there yet. Me Queen is asking what kind of conflict would Morris, actually, it is not Morrison, have staying on the case. Well, he's been working tightly with Rashbaum for many months now, and their close working relationship as co-counsel. Once you work on a case with an attorney that's conflicted, the entire team is conflicted. You just don't take the conflicted attorney off. The entire team comes off. The entire organization comes off. If, for example, they were both public defenders, and if one of them was conflicted, it arose that one of them had represented Charlie earlier. Guess what? The entire public defender office would be conflicted. You can't substitute public defender. So why could you substitute anybody the same working kind of relationship with the various defendants here? All right, let's see here. Jumping ahead. I see some of the same question here. Sorry about that. I was going to pick that one, but I realized I already answered that same one. Now, I don't think Rashbaum's going to call the witness yet, but he could be based on what develops. So anything's possible. There's so much bizarre actions by different attorneys down there in Florida. It's really, really quite remarkable and sad to see. Maui Swift, I said I'd not seen the interview. I've asked for inputs from folks here, but I think it's just window dressing. He's going to duck and run and get off the case. There's no way I think he will stay on the case. It's too much of an inherent conflict risk for him to stay on the case, and I think it's right for for another appellate issue. He's not as conflicted as Rashbaum, but he's right up there with it. He's been too joined at the hip. So that's what that's what the problem is. They need some adult supervision down there. I see John's on. Yeah, here's a good point by Maya. You're saying you want Donna to have competent counsel. I've said that earlier today or last night or both. And you say it won't matter if she'll still be convicted. That's what I'm saying. You want to have good defense attorneys that know what they're doing, because you don't want attorneys that screw it up and then create an appeal issue, and then it gets busted on appeal, and then you go right back to square one. Then if you get another mediocre attorney in the round two, then you're going to have another mistrial or a reverse on appeal. And you never really get to any sense of justice. So you need to get the right attorneys, the competent ones from the get-go. Otherwise, you do all this wasting of time and money and efforts, and you drag the victims through the mud. Okay, Snow Remover saying it's only 8 minutes. Dip out and watch it. It would be great to get your view on it. Yeah, I don't know where it's at right now, and I don't want to take 8 minutes away from you guys. That's what you're implying, but I could look at it again and do a follow-up with this. I just was gone doing other stuff the rest of the day, and I just jumped on tonight here, so I've not seen that. But like I say, I think it's not going to matter. I think he's just posturing and acting like he's going to be lead counsel. LJ saying competent counsel advisor take the plea. Circumstantial evidence is overwhelming. Well, it depends what the plea offer is. I mean, if they don't offer any plea at all and they want her to plead straight up to life without parole, there's not really much incentive. But if she agrees to do 25 to life or something like that for murder too, then maybe that's an option, and maybe she'll get paroled in 8 years, something like that. So it remains to be seen. But yeah, unless she has an attorney that's willing to confront her with the truth and tell her how much of a loser case she has, something it doesn't look like Rashbaum had any capability of doing or have any ability to see the light on that. So we could have a different outcome, but I'm not going to speculate. Right now, she doesn't have conflict-free counsel, in my opinion. John Whittingham, you're asking, does this mean that the Adelsons are starting to crack, i.e. Charles throwing Donna under the bus? Maybe he found out about MA and Ma and Pa fleeing. No, I don't think this has anything to do with Charlie so much as he's just following his attorney's advice. His attorney, I'm sure, weighed in very strong. He said, you're not cooperating. I'm not going to let this happen. So Charlie decided to trust his lawyer on this one. Richard Francis, no federal judge would ever even consider this type of conflicted counsel. I agree. I mean, I would say most courts across the United States would agree with that as well. Oh. All right, so let's see here. I'm gonna go. Got started at 11:21 Eastern time here. Yeah, I'm always sort of saying Alex Morris will be getting additional local counsel. I think they're become lead counsel, and then he's just going to fade away in the next 30 some days. It's just not worth it. Yeah, again, I'm saying he's saying that, but I think it's going to be window dressing. I'd be surprised if he stays on, because it's really a bad move, I would say. And if I was a judge, I'd bounce him as well. Lee Latham saying, really, Carl, 10 years? That's when he's still walking so freely. So clearly there's that level of incompetence in Tallahassee. So anyway, let's see. I'm going to go for maybe 2 more questions. Peter Pants asked, do I think Wendi will be arrested if Donna's convicted? No, she needs to be arrested now. They've had enough time. Get your act together, state attorney's office. Quit sitting on your hands. Start acting like you have some competence. Start doing your job. Okay. If you can't do your job, get somebody in there that will. Reach up to the attorney general's office and say you're in over your head. You don't know what you're doing, and get the right people in there, for crying out loud. This what a disgrace and embarrassment to the justice system. Get the right people involved. If they don't know what they're doing, they don't know what a conflict is of a constitutional magnitude. Okay, Peter Pan, I'm going to put you in timeout. Don't try to flood the channel with the same comments, okay? I'm going to assume you're a troll then, and I'll permanently block you if you keep doing that. So thanks, folks, for alerting me on that. Yeah, if you need to ask a question, sorry, I'm not going to be able to get to everybody's question. I'm scrolling along here, and I'm trying to keep the flow moving. So I there may be great questions I don't get to ask, say on the screen, because it's just a matter of there's only so much bandwidth. The ones I can find, I'm trying to scroll along. So I know there's good questions. I see them, and I cannot get to all of them, and so I'm trying to be fair and equitable across the board here. Bloomingdale, yeah, I do think I've been saying this for the last year and a half plus, that they should try all the Adelsons together. Just get the show on the road. Get somebody that's not afraid to go after all these guys in one fell swoop. It's trying to drop the hammer, for crying out loud. It's really disgusting. Sorry. Jill R. was saying, can Morris stay on and prep the new lawyers in the case? No, he's conflicted. Get off the case. Don't have anything to do with it. New counsel need to show up, and I would say Morris needs to move on. This is just a kangaroo courtroom down there. Okay, it's really ticking me off. I'm so tired. Says this family will take each other down, every man for themselves. Well, that's what happens when you charge them all at once. If you do one at a time, this slow rolling action, yeah, you can have certain things develop, like when Donna fleeing and stuff like that. But overall, you go in there and create that what I call that circular firing squad, and you can get stuff cleaned up a lot quicker. And you got the evidence there to go after him. You don't need to keep hoping there's something else that's going to drop, like an Adelson fleeing. Because you also got the issue that some of the witnesses could not be available, some critical witnesses. So you need to get the show on the road. Cats are doing fine, thanks. Maya's asking, do I think that it's worth keeping Wendi out of jail just to get her lying, inconsistent testimony? I don't. You say, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Wendy's been a key factor in the jury getting to see her lack of credibility, all the lies going on. So I think that part is beneficial to help show the prosecution. But if you look at the criminal record of, the court record, the civil file, all the filings that Dan made trying to get justice because she was doing stuff to jerk him around, in the way she treated the boys, the way she allowed Donna to treat the boys and calling Dan stupid and things of that nature. So that's I think that would come out in the court file and through other witnesses and stuff like that. So anyway, she's not absolutely indispensable, but yeah, she needs to get arrested, and they can order her to testify just like they are now, and just have her show up in a jail suit like Charlie would, and like Luis Rivera did. Yeah, Lee, you're saying that there could be secret indictments against one. Yeah, there could be, but who knows? It remains to be seen. I'm just thinking we got to still keep pressuring the state attorney's office to do the right thing, because it's 2 steps forward, or 1 step forward and 2 back now. But anyway, it's you can't make this stuff up. That's pretty much the sum and substance of it. It's just that crazy what people are doing in the legal community down there. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. You guys have great remainder of the week, and not sure if I'll be on this weekend or not. I'm just going to play it by ear, but we'll see what happens on what Donna gets for new counsel, and we'll be sure to come back and discuss that as well. So you all have a great night. Be safe.